Okay, now we're doing chapter 20 of The Giver. Jonas is obviously in a terrible state. He doesn't want to go home. He can't face the community now. He's discovered the truth about what release really is. And the Giver says you can stay here tonight. And he just doesn't. He can't face seeing anybody ever. But at least the Giver's giving an opportunity to stay away from the home tonight. And Jonas, it's actually interesting. We see how much he's grown up because now he's starting to be kind of sarcastic and cynical about the community. He says, I will take care of that, sir. I will take care of that. I will do whatever you like, sir. I will kill people, sir. Old people, small people, newborn people. I'll be happy to kill them. Thank you for your instructions. How may I help you? You know, he realized, because he's realized what this whole community is about. He realizes what the release ceremony of the old is, that they're going to give them an injection and kill them. Now, finally, when you know what release is, you understand how sinister and terrible everything is. And the Giver kind of justifies it. It's the way they live. It's the life that was created for them, he says. It's the same life that you would have if you'd not been chosen as my successor. Like, if Jonas hadn't discovered what this is, he would have been living like everybody else, in ignorance, not being bothered by what release is and what release isn't. And Jonas, he still can't believe he says, release is always like that for people who break the rules 3 times. Remember at the beginning, if somebody breaks the rules 3 times, they get released. For the old, do they kill the old too? Yes, it's true. And then he realizes that this Fiona, who he's in love with, who takes care of the old and bathes them, one of her job is releasing them, is killing them. He just can't handle it. He doesn't know what to do. So they order, the Giver says, well, first of all, we're going to have something to eat, and then we've got to think of a plan. And the Giver has an idea. He says, it's true that it has been this way for what seems forever. But the memories tell us that it's not always been. People felt things once. You and I have been part of that, so we know. We know that they once felt things like pride and sorrow. He thinks that it might not be so terrible if the memories go back to the community. So they come up with a plan. And this is based on what Jonas said about, well, what if I disappeared? What if I went down the river? And they talk for a very, very long time. And it was possible what they planned. Barely possible, but if it failed, he would be very likely to be killed. You have to understand that this is very dangerous, what he's undertaking. This involves a lot of bravery on Jonas's part. So what he's going to do is he's going to let Jonas escape, and he's going to stay. He's going to help the community heal. This is obviously a very difficult thing because Jonas doesn't want to part from the Giver. They have a very strong connection. And he thinks that the community can handle the memories. He says, I think they can, and they will acquire some wisdom. And it's going to be very hard for them. And he remembers what it was like when they lost Rosemary. But he feels that he can help them. And Jonas says, well, no, but it's no use. What they'll do is they'll just find someone to take my place. But there isn't anyone to take his place. The next female who's got pale eyes her name's Catherine, and she's only 6. So there's no way she can do it. I mean, all the bad memories that Jonas has, there's no way Catherine's ready to take these memories on. And the Giver says, and by the way, I wouldn't make it anyway. I'm so weak. I've given away so many memories, I can't even see colours anymore, which is something that Jonas doesn't know. And then he tells him, that he had an ability, just like Jonas had. Remember Jonas with the apple, that he was able to see beyond even before he started training? Well, the Giver had an ability to hear beyond. And he hears music, and he wants to show Jonas what music is. And now we understand that they don't have music in this community. And Jonas says, no, I want you to keep that with you when I'm gone. So after they've planned this whole thing, Jonas goes home the next morning and he puts on a face. Remember, Jonas is now grown up, right? He's discovered the truth. growing up also means that you take on a role. Okay, you can't just be a child and do whatever you want. So now he's going to his parents and he smiles and everything's great. And his father also smiles, which is very ironic to what a pleasant day he's had. And he realizes, well, yeah, that his father was killing a baby the day before. And what they're going to do is they've got a plan that for the next 2 weeks, they're going to be Jonas and the giver were going to be getting ready. The giver's going to give him memories of courage and strength, which are going to help him on this very difficult journey. And what they're going to do is the night before the ceremony. Remember, things have come around in a full circle. You have this often in short stories and in books, that you have a full circle where things kind of they end up where they started. But when they end up where they started, and I'm trying to make this look a little bit prettier, this is the starting point, it's different, all right? So we've got the ceremony again, okay? Then it's a year's already gone by. So he's going to leave in the middle of the night before the ceremony, because this is the best way, because everyone's going to be busy with the ceremony, and they've got it all planned out, okay? And he's going to slip away from his house on his bike, and it's going to be in the middle of the night, and he's going to leave a note saying that he went early to the giver, and his parents will be annoyed, but they're not exactly going to do anything about it because they're going to believe him. So he's going to be well on his way when people realize that he's disappeared, and he's going to go with one of the. He's going to go in with the driver, and the driver in the vehicle is going to stow in the back of this storage vehicle. The giver has a lot of power in the community, so he can do things that other people can't do, and they don't question him. Then after the ceremony, they would realize that he's gone, and then the giver would come back, and then there would be a big panic. And he would go to the auditorium and he would stride onto the stage and command their attention. Obviously, this is all part of the plan, all right, which is not what happens in the end. You'll see. And he's going to give an announcement that Jonas has been lost in the river, and that they would do the ceremony of loss. Remember the ceremony of loss, where you would chant the name again and again and again. And then the memories would come, and they would have to deal with them. And now Jonas understands that they really do need the giver to help them get over these memories. And then but he still wants him to come with him. And the giver says, "My work will be finished when I've helped the community to change and become whole." Okay. I'm grateful to you, Jonas, because without you, I would never have figured out a way to bring about the change. So we understand now that the giver is somebody who really does want to give change to the community. And Jonas says, "Well, don't you want to be with me?" He says, "I love you, but I have another place to go. When my work here is finished, I want to be with my daughter." Who's the daughter? And then he says, "I didn't know you had a daughter, giver. You told me you had a spouse, but I never knew about your daughter." The giver smiled and nodded. For the first time in their long months together, Jonas saw him look truly happy. Her name was Rosemary, the giver said. So now we find out that Rosemary actually was the giver's daughter. And I imagine that when he says he wants to be with her, that means he's going to end his life.